How does the Old Testament teach? Let's go back to the debate question. How does the Old Testament teach, and teaching means showing and explaining, the Trinity when you repeatedly talk about hints and clues?
Well,
how's that a teaching?
That there are three in the Old Testament, as I made plain in my opening statement. There are the Old Testament clearly teaches divine plurality, that there's one divine being consisting of multiple divine persons, and that there's three divine persons, namely the Father, his angel, or the Messiah, and the Holy Spirit. I'm not arguing that the same philosophical categories that we find in the Nicene Creed are found in the Old Testament, but certainly I think that you have the makings of the Trinity there.
But we do agree that teaching means showing and explaining, and so the Trinity is not shown or explained as the word teaching defines. Is that right?
I think there are texts which make sense only in view of a Trinitarian paradigm. I don't think it says, okay, here's the doctrine of the Trinity and gives you a Nicene Creed, but I've never argued that. Okay,
so you don't have a verse where, as you believe, 3 Yahwehs equals 1 Yahweh. There's no one verse in the Hebrew Scriptures?
I wouldn't say a single verse, no.
And is there a passage?
Where
it says
sure.
3 Yahwehs equals 1 Yahweh?
There's plenty. I gave an example in my opening statement. It was 63, for example.
Right. You see multiple Yahwehs.
Right? You see multiple individuals identified as Yahweh, yeah.
Right. But do we ever have 3 Yahwehs equals 1 Yahweh? There's no one verse, you just said.
I said there's not one verse. Why do you need just one verse?
Okay. So let's stick with the hints and clues. So if this is only hinted at, and we only have clues in the Hebrew Scriptures, are there any Trinitarians in the Old Testament? Did anyone get it at all? The patriarchs, any prophet, any king?
I think that as I said, I don't think that they had the same philosophical categories of Nicene Trinitarian Christianity. Obviously not.
So was that a no?
Did they believe in multiple persons within Yahweh? And yes, I think that there were.
Was there any Trinitarian in the Old Testament?
I think that the ancient writers, including in the Aramaic Targumim, show clearly a view of divine plurality, where there is at least 2 and arguably 3 divine persons.
Right, but that's not what I'm asking. Is there any Trinitarian in the Old Testament? Prophet, king?
Depends what you mean by Trinitarian.
Okay, let's move on. This man who Moses knew God intimately, can we agree?
Yeah.
Okay, but Moses never was a Trinitarian, basically, is my question.
Well, again, it depends what you mean by Trinitarian. Obviously, they didn't have Nicene philosophical categories.
When they see the angel, who you believe is literally Yahweh, how do you know that it's the Father, the Son, or the Spirit there? How do we know which person is being looked at?
Because the angel of the Lord is identified as the Messiah. I have several arguments, but I gave one in my opening statement, which I'll repeat, which is Malachi 3, verse 1, identifies the messenger of the covenant as the Messiah. The messenger of the covenant in Judges 2, verse 1 is identified as the angel.
But it's not in the text. The text is not telling you which of the persons it is in the Hebrew Scriptures when they see an angel in Judges and so on.
I think it can be inferred.
Okay, inferred.